Welcome back to the Growth and Grit podcast, where ambition meets authenticity. I'm your host, Julia Davis, and today we're diving into a conversation that's long overdue. We're talking about real stories behind the stereotypes, what it's like to be a woman in business, navigating assumptions and unspoken rules. I brought together three powerhouse women, leaders, creators, game changers who are breaking barriers every single day. We've got Jessica Irish, Jessica Vitalik, and Dana Iverson, all independent business owners. And we're getting honest about the labels we've been given, challenges we've faced, and how we're rewriting the narrative for the next generation. This isn't just a conversation, it's a call to question what we've accepted as normal in business. Let's get into it. Women are not as ambitious or committed to a goal. And the reason is there's a common belief that women are less driven or serious about careers, especially if they take time off for family reasons or choose work life balance as priority. How have you guys navigated like a societal expectation around a woman's career path?
I think that's just wrong. Other than, like, the actual act of having a child, like,
Have you ever felt pressure like between to choose your career or your personal life?
I feel like in movies, that's why they do that. Like, in movies, you're either like a stay-at-home wife or you're a workaholic mom that, like, ignores your children. So, that was always my goal is to be, like, full-time at both, a full-time mom and a full-time businesswoman and, like, integrate my life and business, which is what I did. So, yeah, I just think that one's not accurate.
Mm. I think, and I will actually say, like, there were many times in my career where I was like, hey, I want to hit this milestone before I even think about having kids. So I did think that, but and Jessica, both Jessica Squared, they can attest because they have kids. But I think it's just like anything in life, you adapt. And when you adapt, once you again are you have the skill sets and the habits to be successful, that doesn't go away. You actually just get better at that because you have more on your plate. But I think women are not as ambitious. I just I don't relate. I mean, I'm sure again, just like the emotional question, I've met a lot of emotional men and met a lot of men that are not ambitious. So I think there's 2 sides to every coin, and I just don't relate to that because I know my ambition and what I've been willing and able to do in my career, so it's just a stereotype, and it's your life, and if you wanna have kids and be a badass woman, then that you can do that. So but there's also nothing wrong with someone that wants to be a stay-at-home mom either. It's just what they decide, and, um, everyone makes those decisions for themselves.
Just be wheels are turning. Just trying to think about how to say something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't think women are any less ambitious than men. I think, that's silly. Obviously, can you put like is there a formula and why people succeed versus why they don't? No, there's a lot of examples in both categories, but I can understand the stereotype of, okay, obviously, women have kids. I have a kid. And it is extremely challenging. Like it's like way, way harder. One of my partners Kinsey just had a child and she's like, this is way harder than running a company. And I was like, yeah. Like it's super hard, right? And I could see how that could, it can be it's challenging to figure out, okay, what's important, what's not, right? And how do I move forward and what are my goals and all this stuff, right? So it's definitely challenging doing both and juggling both, but it can be done. And yeah, I just think that I think it's like they said, like totally untrue that women are less ambitious. I think it is a challenge, and there's certain things that only women can do with children. Like it is real. That other people can't. My husband can't do certain things at the beginning. He could not do certain things that he can do now for our family in terms of support that he couldn't do at the beginning. So it might put a little bit of a hiccup in the plan, but it still can be done. And, it's just challenging, but it doesn't mean that it's made us less ambitious. Maybe that's just the wrong wording or how people look at it or whatever. Like priorities change for a certain amount of time because of human nature, but then you can go right back at it to to what the goal is if you can, prioritize and make it
I
happen.
think that's kind of like an old stereotype.
Cool. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a really old school stereotype because I think 50 years ago, maybe the priority were in different areas, but I think everybody at this stage in the game of life has a really strong opportunity to do whatever you want, whether you have kids or you don't have kids or a big family or no family or whatever. I think it's just kind of more the person's preference versus anything else. Um, so yeah, I think the society's expectation has changed over the last 2, 3, 4 decades on what people can do, especially working from home on Zoom calls and all this different stuff. Like at home work just became like very possible, where before you had to go to an office every day, 8 to 5, no matter what. Now, like tons of women can work from home that, need to be home too. So I think that kind of, yeah, that's like an outdated one, I think.